Let's address the elephant in the room. Every time we talk about sustainability, someone eventually says, "Why should I bother?" The real damage is done by governments and big corporations. And honestly, that frustration isn't wrong. Systems are broken, policies are slow, and no amount of personal discipline is going to single handedly fix climate change, inequality, or resource depletion. But here's the mistake people make in 2026. They confuse not being enough on your own with not mattering at all. Those are very different things. Individual action was never meant to replace systemic change. It was meant to signal it. Systems don't move because they suddenly grow a conscience. They move because enough people change what they tolerate, what they demand, and what they reward. That's how markets shift. That's how policies become politically possible. That's how norms quietly change before laws ever do. When people say individual action doesn't matter, what they're really reacting to is overselling. The lie that if you recycle perfectly or shop ethically enough, the system will magically fix itself. That's not how change works. What does work is aggregation, direction, consistency at scale. When millions of people make small but aligned choices over time, how they spend their money, how they prioritize at work, who they support, what they normalize, systems respond. Not instantly, not cleanly, but measurably. And this matters beyond climate. Think about work culture, mental health, diversity, fair pay, transparency. None of those shifts started with perfect systems. They started with individuals pushing, modeling, and refusing to accept this is just how it is. Sustainability is no different. In 2026, individual action matters most in three quiet ways. When we talk about individual action in 2026, we are not talking about grand gestures. We're talking about quiet, cumulative influence. And this shows up in three ways people tend to underestimate. First, signaling. Every system, markets, governments, institutions, responds to signals. What people buy, what they tolerate, what they complain about, what they reward with attention, money, or loyalty. When enough individuals make similar choices over time, those choices stop being personal preferences and start becoming data. Data shapes decisions, decisions shape systems. This is why things like transparency, sustainability reporting, flexible work, and ethical sourcing didn't start as laws. They started as signals. Consumers asking questions, employees choosing where to work, investors paying attention to risk. One person doesn't move the system, but patterns do. And individuals create patterns. That's how individual action matters. Quietly, statistically, over time. Second, influence. Most change doesn't start at the policy level. It starts socially. People copy what they see more than what they are told. In families, teams, and communities, behavior spreads through proximity. Someone goes first, others adjust, and suddenly what once felt extra becomes normal. This is how recycling became standard, how mental health conversations entered the workplace, how flexible work stopped being a privilege and became an expectation. Not because systems led, but because people modeled something different until it stuck. In 2026, influence isn't about being loud or perfect. It's about being consistent enough that others feel safe doing the same. That kind of influence doesn't go viral, but it lasts. And third, readiness. This is the part almost no one talks about. Systems don't change overnight, but when they do, the people who struggle most are the ones who never prepared. Sustainability transitions, whether in energy, work, or regulation, reward those who already have the skills, mindset, and adaptability to move with them. Individual action builds readiness, learning new skills, understanding how systems work, developing habits that aren't fragile. This isn't about being ahead of everyone else. It's about not being caught off guard when change finally arrives. And here's the reality: change will arrive. The only question is whether people are positioned to benefit or to resist it out of fear. That's why individual action still matters in broken systems. Not because it fixes everything, but because it prepares people for what comes next. When you look at it this way, individual action isn't naive, it's strategic. So, no, you don't need to carry the weight of the world, but opting out entirely doesn't make you neutral. It just hands the steering wheel to someone else. The real work of sustainability in 2026 isn't heroic. It's staying engaged without burning out. It's choosing influence over indifference. And it's understanding that while you are not the whole solution, you are still part of the equation. And that part matters more than people want to admit. So I hope you got something out of this video. If you haven't subscribed yet to this channel, I hope you will. I hope to see you again next week. Thank you. Bye.